What's up, interweb? Thought I'd do a short video on my helmet setup. You know, there's a bunch of different videos out there on Motovlog helmet setups. Just to name a few, I think Chase on Two Wheels has probably more than one video on the subject, and I think it's Moto, I don't know, Blockhead Moto, something like that. He's done a video as well, and kind of the way I originally set this helmet up, for the camera at least, was I used this kind of a side bracket. Because of the way this particular helmet, which by the way is a SHOEI GT-AIR, the model is an Expanse, I think was the name of it, because it had green, so I was all about the green. But originally the side mount that I had set up, the problem was that it always seemed like it was a little bit crooked. And that's really more so just because I didn't mount it straight, I think. But so I went to go try this Sugru product out. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's kind of a moldable glue. And I think it took like 3 packages where it, you know, you get it, you mix it all up, and then you stick it on there, and then after it cures, and it's like a hard plastic almost. Now, I've seen videos and I've heard from people that have said that that stuff doesn't work and it'll fall off at high speeds. I can tell you, I have tried, seriously tried to pull this off, and I can't do it. So, you know, I think if people have not had success with it, maybe it's because they didn't prep it. Could be that the surface finish of the helmet, for whatever reason, maybe doesn't allow it to stick. But the only thing I did was I cleaned the surface of the helmet with isopropyl alcohol, took the adhesive off of the back mounting bracket, and cleaned that really well. I did not sand, scuff, scratch, or anything the helmet to get that to be a more porous surface. I just stuck it on there. So I don't know why people don't have success with it, but you know, use your gut feel. And if you are going to try something like Sugru, you know, it'd probably be a good idea to like tie something to the camera, to the helmet, so if for some reason it does fall off, then you don't lose your camera. But I can tell you from my setup here, I can't pull this thing off for shit. So it's on there. And if I want to go remove this, I'm probably going to have to spend some painstaking time shaving this material down to the point where, you know, you just kind of have to shave it all off. And so, but the audio adapter for the Hero 5 Black, which is what I started using on this camera, is got this ridiculous audio adapter, so I just velcroed that to the side. I did have to kind of do a few things to get this to work out, and I went through a few different iterations of this camera setup. But it'll swivel out, and then I can remove the camera. But what I had to do was I had to get a little angle bracket, and then the camera housing itself that came with the camera didn't have a back plate that had a mounting bracket on the back. So I had to buy this plate so I could mount this to the back of the camera, because if I tried to mount it from the bottom, it just shoved the camera right up against the helmet where you couldn't actually swivel it back. So another thing that I've seen other people do and have recommended when you mount these cameras on is that you want to have the camera mounted with the lens on the Hero is actually offset. It's not centered. So if that's important to you, then you want to mount this to where the camera lens is centered with the helmet. I personally didn't think that it mattered as far as the video goes, so I mounted this to where it's actually the camera housing is kind of centered with the helmet. So again, didn't really seem to make a big difference to me, but you know, I'm not a freaking professional either. Sena 10S, I think, is the yeah. I think there's a 10S and a 20S. I'm pretty sure this is a 10S. Another thing I added was the green mohawk, which is probably the biggest attention getter, and I did it as kind of a joke, really. I went to do a Children's Hospital motorcycle ride, and I put the Mohawk on for that, and it got a lot of attention, and so, you know, I think more visibility on a motorcycle is a good thing. So I left it on, and other than that, I use a Purple Panda microphone. I'll try to put links in the description for all the stuff that I put on the helmet and where I got it from. Another thing I added was this light kit, which is kind of silly, but it will light up solid, or you have intermittent mode, and you got a faster intermittent, and then you have a strobe effect. So you can buy these light kits for fairly cheap. This one was more expensive, and the reason being is because it's kind of, I'd say it's not waterproof, but it's water resistant in the controller, how the controller is designed, and probably the nicer thing, at least for what I was looking for, was the fact that it's removable, and it is a rechargeable USB, so you don't have to mess with batteries. So that's pretty much what I did to the helmet and my setup. So if you have any comments or suggestions, anything, advice on other things you can do to these setups, then certainly would welcome any of that. But on that note, I'm going to call this done, and you can say goodbye to my buddy Linus. You fat Linus.